Hey guys, how you doing today? It's me, Kelly. So, a couple people have emailed me about coloring books, the adult coloring books that are out there. I told a few people the other day for my Kindle, I was sent a free coloring book for my Kindle, and it's the adult coloring books. Now, I have many of these, um, and I love them, but I know that with the emails that I've received, they're very intricate to color, and I know that I have some, and it's very hard for people who have issues with their hands. I have RA and fibro, but there are many different, injuries or issues out there, whether it has to do with being able to see, control your pen and pencil, crayons, what have you. So I had been asked about that, and then I had been asked about mandalas. Which I absolutely love. So I thought I would show you how to make a coloring page. Now, one of the things, and I have a couple of videos on this over the past few years that I've been on here, I do these exercises for creativity and inspiration. And sometimes when I'm not having a good day, whether it be pain or emotional, whatever it is, but I still want to create. There are some things that I do that I will grab maybe, 4 or 5 markers or a pack of crayons, this and that, and I will, sit on the couch or if I'm in bed, whatever, and I will do these exercises. Well, I've mentioned them before, I've done them before, and so I got asked to do some more. So this is what we're going to do now. Sorry for that minute and 40 rambling, but I'm going to show you easy ways to do this. And then when you're done doing this, before you color it, you can copy it. And if you're very fancy, you can scan it in and open it up in your photo editing software, which there's many that are free out there. And you can play around and move a few things, edit it, make it bigger, make it smaller. You see what I'm saying? Okay, so here's where we're going to start. I have a piece of paper. This is watercolor paper. You use whatever you have. Cardstock, printer paper, a notebook, whatever, a piece of paper, okay? And what you want to do is, first what I did was I took a scrap piece of paper that I had. You can obviously see it was a mixed media paper. And let me show you. So you can see here, I folded it in half. And what I did was I just cut out a heart. And although you want to do it, you want to make sure it's on the folded side. I'm not going to be doing it on the folded side because I'm not really going to cut it out. But all you'll do is pretend like this is your folded side. And I'm sure we all learned this in school. And you will just make half of a heart. Just like that. And I did different sizes. Okay. And then I did big. And then I cut it out. Remember, this is your fold. Once you cut it out, and then once you cut it out, you get this great kind of stencil that you can use over and over and over again in your mixed media. Okay, and that's a whole other video, whole other thing I have to do. So, a video on, oh dear cow. So you can see, I cut out, where'd they go? First I cut these out. Let's get those bad boys over there. Where's my little peep-peep for there? I had a peep-peep, but I can't find it. It must have fell, but life will continue. Okay, so you can see I cut out different sizes. Now, when I originally cut it out, you can see this one was pretty big. Well, this was the big one. You can see as I put it in here, it's quite significantly smaller. And the reason why is once I got the shape I wanted, then I laid the biggest one. And I was like, well, I'm not going to get much drawing out of there. I probably could even go smaller than that, but I'm not because I'm blind. I can't see. I wear glasses, but I'm nearsighted, and it's a big old cluster for me to do things. So close up or anything like that. So I thought, okay, this would be a good size for now. And my hands get very fatigued when coloring or painting too much. So I thought, okay, I'm going to keep it at a decent size. Okay. So I have that size. Then this was the second size. So I just cut it down. You can see a little bit smaller. There's no science to this. And then a little one. Now, when I cut them down, after cutting them out of that paper, I got 3 of them, but Lord only knows where the other one is. But you can see I got these outlines. And look how, you can see, and then I even got this cool piece right there. So I can use this basic thing to make me a coloring page, make anybody a coloring page. And it really was just a piece of scrap paper and scissors. How much fun. Okay, so let's start. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a circle. Now, I'm not good at doing circles without, you know, a template or whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a decent size circle, and you can use, maybe we'll use this because it's smaller. I'm going to do it basically in the middle of the paper. Now, here's a good way to get the middle of your paper. This is just a piece of watercolor paper. I'm using the smoother side, but you can see this side, maybe you can't, is a bit rougher than this side. So I'm going to use the smoother side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half. Okay, and this is whatever piece you have. Do your best. I mean, I don't have much strength in my hands, so, you know, things are a bit easier. I mean, a bit harder. And then I'm going to fold it sideways like this. So I have it in half, and then I'm going like this. So it's going to be in 4. Okay, and then I'm going to open them up. Now you can see, for all intents and purposes, I'm sure if I measured it, it might not be as spot on, but you can see we got 4 squares. Here's the middle. And now what I'm going to do is take whatever I'm going to draw on. It could be any bottle that you have, your gesso, your, you know, I have this paint, I have this. This one's a bit bigger than this. I'm going to stick with the smaller one, but by all means, use whatever you have. And I can see right here, I'm going to do it very lightly. Right there is like the middle where they all meet. So that is where I want to kind of put the middle of my bottle. So I get generally an even circle. Does it have to be perfect? No. You know, I mean, you can sit and measure from here and make sure that it's spot on. So like, let's say I'm horrible with rulers, but so this is 5.5 across this way. So it should be the same here, and it's pretty spot on. I'm going to go this way. That's 3 inches. And then I don't want to move it too much. And then I'm going to do it this way. Now that's a little longer. So that's 4 inches. Oh no. Okay, so it's, there we go. That's the 3. This is a little longer, so I'm just going to move it up just a little bit. So we're kind of the same. All right. Okay, so let me just zoom back. All right. Trying to make sure these lines kind of hit the middle. I'm not going to do it too worrisome. And I'm going to take a light pencil. Not a very dark lead, just a regular number 2 pencil, or your whatever you have, and I'm going to trace it around. Now, yeah, you can see here, here's my dot. And this is why I do things like technically live. I don't edit and I don't do things because I want you guys to see me making mistakes and how to fix it. But you can see, here's my dot. Well, what the heck happened here? That's not right. So I'm going to take my eraser. I sure am, if I can find it. Oh, I really have to take time and clean down here. We'll just use this one. And I'm going to just lightly, see, this is one of the worst erasers ever, but still going to get my point across. You can still see my dots there. Okay. So I want to move it down this way a little bit more. And again, you can go measure again, but I'm going to kind of just keep it like this and just call it even and just get on to what we're going to do. If I was fancy, I'd edit it and then everything would look perfect and then you would see. But that's a little bit better, you know, right there. So I'm just going to cut that off, erase that, and we're off to the races. Remember, mistakes are part of creating, and it's what makes everything handmade. And I don't want to be perfect like, you know, I could buy at Barnes & Noble or Amazon. Why would I want that? Okay, so this is going to be our circle. Right? And that'll be something that we do later. But for now, I want to take the bigger heart. Okay, this is the bigger heart that I've cut. And what I want to do is I want to put the point right there on the edge. And it's, you know, basically in the middle of this line. And I'm going to lightly trace. And if you don't trace spot on, don't worry about it. Now, if you have a heart stamp, which I'm going to do another video using a stamp to do this for more of a colored effect, and I'll do all that later. But all we're doing is we're going to lay down you know, and you're kind of going where that fold is, and you're laying it down. Now you can see where my eraser was, but that's all right. And it doesn't matter if it touches or not. We're just kind of making our own thing here. I know a lot of you are strapped money-wise. I know a lot of you are disabled. A lot of you write me. A lot of you tell me your stories and ask questions and you know, ask me to do this or to do that. So you can find ways at home very inexpensively to do things where you're creating. And this is one of those things. Very simple. Do you have to cut anything out and do a heart? No, but you saw how easy it was. You literally, you know, sit down and do it. It doesn't take anything. And, you know, then you're going to be creating. So I just basically want 4 of these here. You know, sometimes it slips and you just kind of fix it. Sometimes my hands just don't want to work. Okay, so you can see, so we have that started already. Now we can go in. I'm going to take these pieces here. Okay, this is our second piece. Here's my other scissors I was looking for. Okay, so now we're going to take our second piece, and I want to take it, and I'm going to, this is this middle piece, and I want these to touch. So the point is going to go out, but I want these to kind of, not necessarily touch, but this is, you know, where they're just right there. And all you're going to do is the same thing, and we're going to trace. Now, some people, I don't happen to be one. I love to doodle. I love, you know, doing that kind of thing. But, you know, sometimes I just can't convey what's in my head to the paper. So this for me works, you know, works really well. And I'm going to do this here. I just think this, and I think this is great to do with kids because, like I said, they can cut out their own pattern. It doesn't have to be a heart. I'm doing a heart because we all learned how to cut hearts out in school. You know, and most kids know how to do a heart. And if they don't know how to cut out the heart, you can have them draw it like I showed you, and get their own, or, you know, you can cut it out. They can, I mean, there's like so many different scenarios, and all we have is a piece of wasted paper that we cut out, a pair of scissors, you know, and you're teaching your kid art, or your grandchild, or whoever, or your friend. I can't believe how many people are out there that aren't creative. I bet you they are, but they get nervous, or they just, it isn't their gig. And I don't understand that, but you know what I mean? So if you want to teach your friend, this is a great way. And like I said, it's meditative. Good gods. No big words for me, please. All right, so you can see I'm just very simply tracing. I'm not going to worry too much how much it's on, how much it's not. And you can see it's not very circle-like. So mandalas are very, you know, they're very circle and all that kind of thing. But I'm not going to worry about that too much right now. I just want different shapes to fill out some of this paper to, you know, start something cool. And I'll show you. Now you can go on and on with this, right? And do the smaller heart, do it, whatever you want. So I'm just gonna, just kind of, and that one's a little closer to the other ones, but I'm not gonna worry about that. So now we used our bigger one and our smaller one, and we have this really cool little part in here. Well, I cut that piece out, which looks like kind of like a kite or a spike. And you can see I lay it there. Now it's a little bit too wide right there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna trim it down a little bit. I'm gonna fold it in half. The best I can in half, and I'm going to cut it right here. Still keep that point, and let's see if that will help. A little bit more. So now I'm going to cut the longer edge, just a smidge, just like that. Now, if I could pick it up because of my hands, if you can't do that and you find that not to be enjoyable, but now you can see. You could put it in any way, having the point going that way, and you can trace that, and then you'll have those pieces there. If you don't want to do that because you're like, well, I can't because of my hands, or you know, it's nothing that you really dig on doing, All you have to do is either take a marker or a little bit of paint or whatever, and you can just put dots in there. You can use a pen, and you can doodle in here and do cool things. It doesn't really matter. You know, I'm just showing by pieces that we cut, but and I'll just do this here. But you definitely don't have to. I know what I'll do. I'll do two sides. They do the two sides, and the other two I'll doodle. So you can see I'm just kind of penciling that in. You can see that crappy. I don't know why that eraser's so crappy. And then I'm going to do it this way. And I'm going to have the point, there we go. Point down that way. Okay, so you can see. And I can always just bring it down. And there we have those two. But what I'll do is in these two, we'll just do a doodle or something. So now here's our circle. I don't know what we're going to do with it yet, but let's take a marker. Let's take a Sharpie or any kind of marker that you have. And let's trace it. Do it any color you want, whatever. And I'm just going to start. And you don't have to be perfect. Now you can color first or paint first and then trace. That's completely acceptable as well. I just want you guys to be able to see this real well. So you can kind of see what we're doing. And I kind of go in different parts so I can get the lines the same. Because for whatever reason, I'm not a very good tracer. I don't understand why, but I'm sure it has to do. Like a lot of the things it just doesn't hit my brain the right way. I know you guys are all like, really? You don't say. Your brain doesn't process? We would never know. Yeah, right. I'm about as airheaded as they come sometimes. Okay. And you can see now I'm just kind of freeforming it because I don't want to have to keep you here forever. Forever, ever, forever, ever. Okay, so you see we got that. And then my circle. So I'm just going to go the best I can. Like I said, I know my circle's not fantastic. I do have a circle template, but I'm not going to worry about it. And you can see here we have this great pattern. Now, this might be a pattern that you find in one of those coloring books. I don't know, but mine is definitely bigger, and that's kind of what I need. So now's when the fun starts. Now, we could definitely make this circle if you want to into a mandala. You definitely could start adding. Like I have my small heart. I have these. Let's see if I can show you. All right. So I have that, and I have that yet, and I have that. So we can definitely start going sideways. So we could lay this heart like this and trace it and make it a circle. We could start using this, right? And each time we trace it and trace it. Let's use the bigger one. And let me just show you what I mean. So I just wanted to barely touch that. And I want it to, this is going to be a corner. So I'm going to think of these as the circle of the mandala. I'm going to use this. Trace it. I won't trace the inside yet, but you definitely can. Imagine coloring that in a couple different shades. So you see, and all we're going to do, you can do them together, and we're just going to keep going. And when it gets to the corners, we want it to kind of, do this real quick. We want it to kind of curve. Okay. So you'll start there. You'll start doing these. These will be, that's going to be kind of your corner. And then in here, you kind of want one. Let's see. I would make it more in. But see, that's going to make it, we can connect them though. Why don't we do this? Connect it point to point. And then we can do the same thing here. Let's try this. This one I'm winging here on my own, but that's the fun. Do it whatever way you want, you know? So the corner is going to be like this. And then I'll show you. See how we're just kind of making it, sorry, I was off for a second. See how we're just kind of making it circle? So then we're going to do the same here. And it's going to be pointing the same way. Kind of like that. We're going to trace it. Again, do you have to do this? No, just color what you have, but I'm just showing you a different way. All right, you can see that I didn't. Just going to play like that because I want to get to the other part. And then I'm going to take these, make this rounded, make them meet in the middle. You can see I screwed that up. I'm not going to worry about it because I'm going to color that in anyway. And then you can do here and just kind of make them meet. All right, so you kind of got your circle going. Will you do a little bit better? Of course. Do you have to? No, we're just playing. We're just doing. It's not that big a deal. We're going to doodle. You could put more hearts in here. You could put more hearts in here. You can continue going with whatever. But if you want to use paint, paint. We can take some, what color? Let's do, now you can see, I can see this right here, that this is more like this, where I did this like that. So you might want to do this in pencil before, there you go, before you do it in your marker, because, you know, you'll get a better idea. Doing it on camera and not, you know, and trying not to think about it too much, I'm going to mess up. It's all right. You get what I'm saying. Let's take some blue paint, because we want to make this cheery and, you know. Okay, so I'm just going to take some of my blue paint, whatever you have, and I'm just going to go in and I'm going to paint these, the bigger circles. Can you use crayon? Yep. Can you use marker? Yep. And I'm just going to do this for a second and show you two different ways. So we could do this, let it dry, and then doodle inside with your permanent marker or your paint marker, or even with a small paintbrush and paint. All right, so we're going to do that one there. And then we're going to do, let's do this heart. And you do them whatever colors you want. Like I said, you do whatever you want. My only suggestion is if you're going to doodle and you only have crayons, I'd paint first with acrylic paint, because it's kind of like a gesso. And once you put the crayon down, to paint over it is going to be really hard. Now, you might get a really great look with the wax underneath. Do you know what I'm saying? But I don't, you know, that has to be what you decide to do, and if that's what you're going for. So while that dries, now here's the middle. What do we want to do in here? You know, I'm just going to kind of go for it. I'm just going to kind of do lines with no real reason. And then I can doodle on here. So maybe I want to do, and it depends on how intricate you want to get, you know, because now you can doodle all in there. Or sometimes I just like to do circles. Or you can mimic the shape. And you just keep going from there. So I'm going to dry this real quick. And you know what I'm going to do while that's drying for another second? I don't dig this outside. Not going to lie to you. So what I'm going to do, if you come across something like that, I'm going to take these hearts off the end. Let's see if you guys can see. I'm going to leave that. I'm just going to kind of go like this. And I can save those hearts to put in mixed media or in my art journal or whatever I want. You just want to leave that. Because I'm like, you know what? I really don't dig that. I'm just going to go take these off. But I'm going to leave that bottom part for, so you guys can see what it's going to be like when we go on there. But like all this, well, this would make a good cutout for your art journal. All right, so I know I'm kind of off, but I'm always off. just because that annoyed me. And like I said, if you don't make mistakes, you're not going to get to exactly where you want to be. You can either accept it and move on, which I do many times, or I think, you know what would look really cool? Is if I basically, and I'm cutting it out really crappy because I don't want to spend all day cutting it out. But I think you're getting what I'm saying. And this makes it very portable as well. If you're sitting on your couch or your bed or just don't feel like doing nothing big. So you can see there, got that. And then I'm going to cut this off, even though the bottom part's going to end up coming off. But for now, I just want to keep it on there. And you can see we have our little cutout. Now, did I use my paper properly? Not really. I could have saved it a little bit better if I would have known that I wasn't going to do this and just cut out that part. I could have started it elsewhere. For me, though, it's better for me to work in the middle. And if you're using a piece of printer paper or what have you, this is great to do with printer paper or whatever. And you're not wasting. You know, that was a big piece of watercolor paper. Okay, so you can see this. Well, let me move in so I can just show you this part here. And like I said, I love. I'm just going to take my Sharpie, and now we can, you know, decorate it or doodle in it or whatever you want. Now, I'm somebody who, I'm going to go over these black lines, and it goes right over it. Now, the paint probably isn't all the way dry and might not be the wisest thing to do right at this second, but I'm going to do it. So I'm going to start here, and I'm just going to mimic. And you see how it goes over the paint, the acrylic paint so well? You want matte acrylic paint. So you don't want glossy or satin. But you can see how you're just kind of, this is so simple. You're just mimicking. All right. And then you can go in and you can add zigzags, circles. You know, and you can just go to town with all kinds of doodles here. So you can see it works. Just make sure your paint's all the way dry. So you can start doing that, or here's your heart. What do you want to do here? Well, I like big cuts. And you can even use the end. If you don't want to do it like this, take the end of your pencil, your eraser, whatever you have, dip it into, choose some green. Dip it in so you have that, and go in, and you can even go over just to add dots in there. And look at that. And you're doing, I mean, this is like, you just sit, turn on your music, turn on somebody on YouTube that you like, listen to them talk, and just sit and play. So I just broke that eraser right out of there. Tells you how expensive these pencils are. But do you see what I'm saying? And you just sit and do it, and this is your little fun. Here, you can do the same thing. Take your marker. We didn't put the diamonds like we had there, so I don't know. What do you want to put in there? I'm like kind of out of thought process right now. Maybe we'll do like some blobs, right? Small. And what would be fun is if I would have colored the base. Let's do it over here. Let me do it over here so I can show you. It'll make it a lot better. All right. I think my husband came and took all my paper towels. Let me use a different one. Okay. We'll go back with green. Since it's sitting here, just going to put some green on there and go in. So we could do this. And you can see that they're big enough spaces that you could color in them. Or you can sit with your markers or whatever you want, crayons. This is not a discriminatory, fun thing to do. All right, you can see I'm not worrying too much about going over too much, anything like that. I'm going to dry it real quick. Now I'm going to take a different color paint that will look good on there. How about, I could use yellow. Let's just use black. Well, just might as well use my marker. And then go in and color in random shapes. Whatever color you want. I'm just using my black Sharpie right now so you guys can see it better. But see, now just use and just do little dots, little squigglies, color them in any color you want. And you have design there. So you just keep rocking and rolling. And when you're done, tag me so I can see it. Let me know. But this is so fantastic. We all don't have to feel like we can't always participate in, you know, the new thing that's out there, the new fads, the new this, the new that. I meditate a lot. I meditate now. I use my knitting and crocheting for me to meditate. I love doing this kind of thing because it helps me meditate, because I can just put on music or even no music sometimes, depending on my mood. I can do this. I mean, it's been 30 minutes and I just showed you all this, but I would have done all this. I would have had all stuff in there, or you don't even have to draw in there. You can leave it straight and just kind of do that kind of thing. So watch when I cut this, and that'll be my last little thing. I just think that we put too much pressure on ourselves of what is quote unquote popular out there now, you know, through Amazon and wherever else you see it. And look, I cut that off. I could save that for a mixed media piece, throw that in there. It doesn't, you know, it's all good in the hood, baby. But you see, look how cool. Look how cool that is. And again, I mean, it could be that big and I can sit and color that, no problem. I can sit and color that before I cut it out, or I don't even have to color it out. Or I could do it, color it, put it on a, do a mixed media background on an art journal page, put that bad boy in there. So much you can do. But like I said, don't feel, oh gosh, I get a couple messages a day about being chronically ill and feeling like, and this is a vlog for another time, but feeling like you just, you know, you just don't fit in. You just can't do it. You can't afford all the supplies. You don't understand this. This one made a video on that. You don't quite understand it. I don't badmouth anybody really, because I think we're all on our journey and we're all doing our gig and we're all doing our thing. And I think that, you know, if you like what I do and you learn from me, or you like listening to me for whatever reason, I'm blessed and I feel thankful. There are so many of us out there that I might not care for, maybe the art that they do, or like I'm not a card maker, that kind of thing, that it doesn't apply to me. Sometimes I'll watch, sometimes I won't. But you know, if I came across somebody who was doing card making and they spoke to me, I would be more apt to maybe try it. But I'm in my head a lot, and mixed media is my thing, and that's what I love to do. So, you know, learning something new besides watercolor, which I'm gonna do. You know, so you know, you just have to, whoever you like to watch and whoever brings you comfort and all that kind of thing, that's who I suggest you guys learn from and go watch. You know, leaving nasty or negative comments to people because they're just not your gig is, you know, not a way to be. Find somebody who is your gig and who you do like, because there's so many wonderful people on here that I learned from still. I got a long way to go. But like I said, not everybody that I watch do I learn from, but I wouldn't leave them a nasty comment. And I just move on to somebody else. And that doesn't make that person a bad person. It's just because the way my brain functions, and I've talked about this before, I know a lot of you are like this, the way my brain functions, sometimes I don't grasp things. So it isn't necessarily the person, it's just they're not speaking to the way I need to be taught, if that makes any sense. But if this isn't for you, find somebody who is for you, and don't give up, and don't not create because you feel that you cannot do it. That's kind of my point. And that's kind of why I'm going to do things like this for people like us who have hand issues and who want to be a cool kid for a minute, I guess, with everybody doing these coloring books and all that kind of stuff, and to meditate. Like I said, that this is a meditation. Like I said, put on your music, put on relaxing music. Don't put any music on at all. Put a TV show that you like, you know, whatever. Think of it like you're doing the treadmill or going for a walk, and then just sit and just play. Very simple. I'm done. Sorry to keep you guys so long. I love you guys so very much. Thank you for all your love and your support and your messages and everything. Um, you know, when y'all write me, I mean, that's why I do what I do. I love new artists that are coming about and wanting to learn all these fun things. And they message me and they say, I just found you and I love it. I love how you teach. I love what you do. I love your philosophy. Da, 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 da. It makes me feel so good. Or when people who are ill, like I am, write me and say, you know what, you give me courage not to give up, that I can still do what I want to do, although it's not how I was able to do it 20 years ago. That is just that keeps me living. I gotta tell you. So be kind to each other. You never know about somebody else is fighting. I love you guys so very much, and you will see a lot more different things like this. Just for kids, for beginners, for chronically ill, for when you just want to shut your mind off and play and do something artistic. Let's rock and roll. So I love you guys. Bye, guys.